one of the ways to prevent a community from fragmenting and polarising is for a majority of its members to be willing to let other people have space, those people who you might disagree with, indeed people who might offend you or say things that offend you. Hi, I'm Warren, the rector here at St Columba's. Glad you could join me for my message of the day. Part of the art of being a parish minister is to come to a community and not to roll out the variety as though the task should be to bend it to your will. And part of the task is to make sure that those who do hold a different view actually keep their space, to help the community keep space open for that kind of variety, not to seek uniformity. And as I say, that's part of the art of it, to be able to do that, but to still lead or be a leader in the community, to bring change, to be changed, and then at the end of that, to leave, to go somewhere else, and leave the community intact, even though you're no longer part of it. And that's my experience of a traditional Anglican church like St Columba's. If you come to St Columba's, you should expect to rub shoulders with people who are different than you. They might dress differently, talk differently, hold different views. Not everyone, but some people. And a church like St Columba's, both in its official structures, but in the way that it tries to operate between people, leaves space for variety. And in fact, even if the people don't know this, a church like St Columba's, in its DNA, its culture, it actively makes space for people so that there is a variety here. Of course, there's natural groupings. There's natural groupings in a local church, in a national church, in a nation, of course. But this idea that we have to make space and leave space for people, I think, is crucial. And if you were to think of a group that is a sect, the more sect-like a group becomes, the less space there is for a variety of views, for dissent. And anyone who feels that I don't really agree with that, won't feel they have any space to say it. I'd call this another characteristic of moderate middle Anglicanism that I was talking about on Sunday. And if you haven't seen my sermon on Sunday, I do encourage you to have a look at it, because I talked about the way in which the middle is not defined by its content. The extremes on either side, for instance, those views can be held by people in the middle, but they're still in the middle. The middle is not defined by content, it's defined by how we act and interact. And the disposition within us, the kind of humility required, but also, in this case, what I'm talking about, the willingness to let other people have space. That's a characteristic of the middle. And when times get fraught, like they are now in the church, the middle has to hold. And we have to, if necessary, relearn how to let people have space, and to reject the idea that the target, the goal, is to take the space from others. I said on Sunday, I can remember when I was ordained, the different factions in the church were seen to be a good thing, because together they kept us whole. They reminded us all of a particular view which we might have a tendency to lose without them. That's no longer holds, and that's because, in my opinion, we've given up this idea of in our practice, of letting people have space. Of course, everyone denies this. We all say that we give each other space, but actually, if you listen, the way the debates are held, the way the different factions are becoming more sectarian, space is evaporating for those that disagree. So I think part of our task as Christians, Anglicans, is to actually, where necessary, relearn, or to continue to practice the art of making space for each other, and when things get heated, to be even willing to give up some ground. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.